what time it is. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
And we are live. Merry Christmas to our loyal WFYL listeners around the world. Welcome back to your Philadelphia live stream, only on the Freedom Station. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in once again, because you still have the right to hear and the right to be heard. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mike G. As always, with me are Philly Chris, Russ the producer, and Liberty Lee. And you're listening to Mike G in the Morning with The Law Matters. And you can listen to our program every Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern, only on the Freedom Station, WFYL. So let's be heard. I want to remind our listeners that you can participate in the free and open exchange of thoughts and ideas throughout the entire week by visiting MikeGinthemorning.com. What's it called, Philly Chris?
MikeGinthemorning.com.
How about you, Russ?
MikeGinthemorning.com.
Liberty, are you with us?
MikeGinthemorning.com.
You can check out all of our social media platforms, check out our video clips, all the madness that Mike G and Philly Chris are up to during the week. Share your comments, share your thoughts and ideas. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell your barber, tell your Uncle Jerry, tell anybody who'll listen to check us out at MikeGinthemorning.com. I also want to remind our listeners about the powerhouse lineup we've got here at the Freedom Station. Kick off your mornings with Scott Adams, bringing you the Scott Adams Show weekdays from 9 a.m. until 11. A very special program, the Kinetic Faith Show, featuring Rick Crump, who was just on this program a few weeks back, preaching values, service, and order, weekdays at 11 a.m. We've got Dan the Man Bongino, bringing you the Dan Bongino Show weekdays from noon right until 3 p.m. We've got intellectual giant Ben Shapiro, bringing you the Ben Shapiro Show weekdays from 3 to 5 p.m. And finally, we want to welcome him to the Freedom Station family. We've got Michael Knowles, bringing you the Michael Knowles Show weekdays from 5 to 6 p.m. So don't forget to tune in and show him some love. And with that, you know what time it is. Buckle up and enjoy the ride. Hit it, Russ.
You know what time it is. Buckle up and enjoy the ride.
We have a very special edition of the Christmas Eve Mike G in the Morning program for our loyal WFYL listeners. We've got a special guest joining us. Anna Avallone is an attorney out of the People's Republic of New York. She joins us to talk about all the different abuses that she's had to fight in various capacities as an attorney to protect the liberty of New York citizens. She deals with cases regarding criminal defense, defending people who have been wrongfully accused of being jammed up by the government. She helps keep families together in children and youth contexts. And she also deals with restraining orders that are wildly out of control and affecting people's Second Amendment rights over in New York, whatever Second Amendment rights they still have left over in New York, that is. We're very thankful that she's able to join us. Thank you, Anna, for joining us.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
It is our pleasure. So, Anna, why don't you tell us a little bit about what it is that made you get into the legal field? Why is it that you chose to be an attorney?
Okay. Well, I would say that the law has always been a part of my life. I actually was adopted. So with being adopted, I went through the family court system with their abuse and neglect cases. And I mean, I was adopted quite young. So for me, I bonded with my adoptive family really well, but it was something in which it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare in the sense that there are many parents that do end up in the system, and the ones that do are not necessarily the parents that the government makes them out to be. They make them jump through hoops just to get their children back. I find the way that family court is really dealt with here in New York, it's more so in which parents are put on trial, and a lot of weapons that they use, that the government will use, is ways to limit their rights, such as restraining orders. One really nasty element of it are the family offense cases, which to me, I really believe have no basis being in family court at all. It's criminal elements, in which you fill out a petition, put whatever you think would count as an abuse. It's not reviewed by any real government authority, and you have an ex parte hearing where the other person's not even there to dispute what you're saying, and you can get a temporary order. This order limits the capacity you could be around the person. It makes it so that if you're a gun owner, you have to go and surrender your gun over to the precinct. There is no question, there's no debate. Even if you're someone that's a responsible gun owner, it doesn't matter. It's this person really gets their piece of paper and goes in and pretty much uses that paper as a weapon rather than a shield. It makes it harder, especially for fathers that are trying to get custody of their children. And unfortunately, in New York, you see a really disproportionate amount of fathers having order protections used against them, especially when custody cases get heated. I have a client, for example, where he's a great responsible gun owner. He is a former veteran. He uses his guns for hunting. And on the eve of trial, his child's mother decided to put a family offense petition against him, in which he lives in Pennsylvania. He's not sure how to comply with a New York order of protection and how to go about surrendering his firearms. And literally, the allegations against him don't rise to the level of requiring a restraining order. It literally is that he said some bad words in an argument with her and made her upset.
They must have been hurtful.
Oh yes, they were so hurtful. And so that's the reason why he can't have his guns, even though the guns were not even mentioned anywhere on her petition. It literally is used as a weapon, and I would say it's used as a weapon to make him back down from actually fighting for his child. And I think that the way that they're used is absolutely disgusting. And what it really does is it puts this person's life in jeopardy, because it's not just about taking away their guns, it's about taking away their freedom.
Right.
If you're caught in violation of this order, that now rises to be a criminal contempt case, and now you have a criminal court case, which unfortunately, with the way the statute is written, it doesn't matter if like you were walking in the street and you saw the person and you really didn't intend to be around the person can still go and argue that you violated because you were in their space. It gets even worse, because in family court, you have pretty much people that can't see their children due to these orders of protection. And a lot of times, the other parent, who the order of protection is supposed to be protecting, will set up the other parent to violate. I have a client where he was just going to try and do a visitation exchange to see his son, who he had not seen in weeks. And so it very much was when he showed up to pick up his child, she then went down to the police station across the street and said, he came to my workplace. He didn't even know that was her new workplace.
Oh, wow.
He just wanted to see his child. So now he has a criminal court case, and his chances for actually getting custody now for his child have severely diminished. He can't even see his child unsupervised. He was supposed to see his child for Christmas. He can't. The court hasn't gotten around to finding a supervisor yet, where he's not a danger to the child. It's strictly just being used as a weapon to gain advantage in the custody battle.
And it would seem that this kind of a system is both over-inclusive and under-inclusive at the same time, if that makes any sense. And what I mean is that if you have somebody out there who intends to do somebody harm, and you enter this order, really at the end of the day, that's just a piece of paper, isn't it? So if somebody does want to go out and harm or kill somebody, that piece of paper is not going to stop them if those are their intentions. And at the same time, if somebody is truly a danger, right? If we really believe that this person's an imminent risk to other people, whether it's a former spouse or whether it's a child, then what is entering this order and taking away the person's firearms going to do in terms of that? You're not locking the person up. If this is truly a dangerous person, you're not locking that person up. They obviously haven't done something that rises to the level of criminal activity, something where you can charge them with a crime. But you're imposing all of these nitpicky measures that are harassing in one sense, but also not going to stop somebody who truly intends to do somebody harm. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Exactly. Oh, yes. I mean, really, these orders of protection, they're only really good against the people that will follow orders.
Right.
People that actually intend you harm will still be able to get you whether or not you have an order of protection. And unfortunately, family court issuing these order protections isn't going to stop that. What really needs to happen is that these cases really should be heard in criminal court. There should be more, I would say, it's something that family court shouldn't necessarily have jurisdiction on, because the judges don't even understand criminal law half the time. So they're now imposing sentences and evaluating what the charges should be without really understanding criminal procedure law. And furthermore, it's not like there's due process. This is something in which that order protection stays there and also is automatically renewed until there is a final hearing. So with criminal court, when there's criminal court order protection, you can pretty much get those cases dismissed within 90 days. On top of that, it's the police that have evaluated whether or not this is serious enough to be brought in. And on top of that, you have a prosecutor that went over what happened to really know if this is a serious matter. A lot of these order protections are because they said something mean to me. Right. And they made me feel afraid. But there's no real other allegations of really that this person actually is a danger. And now this person is stuck with an order of protection that could go on for years before you actually get to the final hearing. And the pandemic didn't make that any easier. I have cases where they're not even going to get to the order of protection until late next year. And so this person has to be on their toes and make sure they don't say the wrong thing because their liberty's at stake. And I think it's disgusting. I think it's something in which these people it's being used as a weapon, and there needs to be, it's something that I don't feel belongs in the place that it's at. One second.
Yeah, I want to back this up just a little bit and talk about your background. You're saying that getting interested in the legal field because it's something that you've always been involved with, being adopted. I've heard attorneys who deal with adoptions talk about this in sort of a fascinating light. They talk about how often in court, in the situations you're talking about, restraining orders, custody battles, criminal cases, you have a courtroom where there are a lot of tears in a courtroom, and they're not good tears. And when an adoption's finalized, that's one of the few times where people are in a courtroom and there are tears of joy that happen. Is that a beautiful thing?
It is a beautiful thing. I find that in certain cases, in mine at least, it was something in which I needed that protection. And it was something where I was placed with a family that really gave me the resources that I needed to actually become who I am. And I don't think I would be the same person that I am today or have achieved what I've been able to achieve without that. I think that those cases, the adoption cases, and also proper guardianship cases, those cases, yeah, there's plenty of happy tears there. But I mean, you do also see in certain cases where they're not, I've seen fights break out.
Right.
You have a lot of people where it's, I mean, for some people, they're able to kind of really not, well, for some people, they're able to really go in and do what they need to do and get their children returned. There's other cases where that's not the case, and that could be on the fault of the parent. That could be a fault on like the worker that's really handling the case. And when that happens, those are really emotional cases, I would say.
Were you born in New York?
Mhm.
Were you born in New York?
I was born in New York, New Jersey.
New York and New Jersey. So you get the 2 out of the.
Right.
When do you plan on moving to the United States of America, Anna? What part of Jersey?
Oh, give me 1 second.
Sure.
Yeah, no
Central
problem.
Jersey.
I think she said Newark, maybe. I think that's what she said.
Oh, Newark, New Jersey.
I believe
thought
that's what she
you
was
said
saying,
New York.
Mike,
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Newark,
think
New
so.
Jersey. So that's
But-
Essex County, New Jersey.
Mhm.
I don't know. Do they consider Newark, New Jersey, North Jersey, Philly, Chris? Because, well, let's ask Liberty. Liberty's the resident
Yeah,
expert.
Liberty would know. I don't
Liberty's
think
the
that's too
resident
far
expert
north, right?
on New Jersey. Liberty?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, Newark would definitely be considered north, especially to Philly people, because it's
Right.
more south where I'm from, but it's definitely considered more North Jersey, I would say.
Well,
Yeah.
for Liberty, everything is South Jersey, right?
Yeah, you were almost in
I'm from
Canada, weren't you, Liberty?
Sorry,
I'm pretty much in Canada.
Oh, that's
We
okay.
were just
You have,
having a
you have
debate as to
children? You have
whether
kids?
Newark, New Jersey is North Jersey because Liberty, one of the what do we call you, Liberty? One of the contributors in this program. One of the contributors on this program, Liberty Lee, is from way North Jersey in the mountains, real rural area, and so everything to
Oh,
Liberty. Everything else is South Jersey when you ask Liberty.
Yes.
But is Newark, New Jersey, is Newark considered North Jersey in your opinion? Anna, what do you think?
Oh, I was just born there.
Oh, okay.
I've lived in New York for most of my life, though.
See,
Like I moved quite
Anna was
quickly
born
afterwards.
in New Jersey. She's like, get me out of here right away. Even as a
Right.
baby. she
I
was
mean,
like-
it was like, all right, it was nice while I was here for all of 5 minutes. I'm going to other states now. I've seen everything I need to see. But
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up actually in Long Island.
Oh.
So Nassau County, Long Island. They're very serious about their bagels and their pizza, and I mean, they all seem to hate people from New Jersey. Also, it's just like a real like,
Jeez.
Liberty's used to that. So, now, one thing, and Liberty has talked a lot about this growing up in New Jersey. I obviously born and raised in Brooklyn, lived in Staten Island for a little while, and firearms, being a gun owner, really isn't something that you hear about, particularly in the 5 boroughs or in many parts of New Jersey. How was it in Long Island? Did you know anybody who legally owned firearms growing up, or was it sort of this thing where only the cops and the bad guys have guns?
Well, I feel when you start moving out to like Suffolk County, you find more people that might own firearms. But
Okay.
for me, I didn't really have a lot of friends that were like, yeah, we have our, like, it was mostly reserved for the police.
Gotcha.
Not anyone really like went out and actually purchased it. Suffolk County, there's a whole different story. They're
Okay.
out there, they're like, you know what, listen, we have certain rights and we want to use them.
Okay. That's great because I think that's lost on a lot of people in the 5 boroughs where they almost don't even, it doesn't occur to them that private citizens can legally own firearms to protect themselves and their families. Do you notice
Right.
that attitude in the 5 boroughs?
Yes. I find that in the 5 boroughs, like I feel like it's not something where people really think about it. It's just like it's ignored. I live in Queens now, so no one really it's how would I say? It's like they act like it doesn't exist. But what's unfortunate though is when you have people that come from out of state where they use their firearms and they're responsible gun owners, but before they come into New York City and then to the boroughs, they don't really research exactly what our firearm laws are, and they end up in like a lot of hot water for doing nothing.
Yeah, well, we see that in New Jersey. I practice in New Jersey as well, and really the law is stay out, right? Don't bring guns to New Jersey. Because you could end
Don't
up
try to
with
exercise your
mandatory
rights
min-
here, basically.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no exercising of rights here. What was it that Murphy said about taxes, Chris?
Oh yeah, if taxes are your thing, New Jersey's not for you.
It's not for you. Yeah. I should be admonished for calling him Governor Murphy though, because his real name is
Right.
King Philip, right?
That's
King
true.
Philip.
That is true.
And you got King De Blasio over in New York, who's on his way out, right?
If the Second Amendment is for you, then New Jersey and New York are not for you.
New York are not for you. Well, that must keep you incredibly busy. So, where did you ultimately end up going to undergraduate?
I went to the University of Maryland and got my undergraduate degree there. I was a government and politics major.
Okay.
And I initially thought like, oh, I'm gonna go work on Capitol Hill. It's gonna be fine. And then I ended up like, you know what? I'm gonna go to law school. So yeah.
The swamp was just too much for you, right?
It really was. And it was, I find that the DC, Maryland, Virginia area has a completely different vibe. And it's very much like of prestige. Everything is of prestige. And we're not really necessarily putting in laws that really help people, but what's popular right now. And also I interned at the Maryland State Legislature. I was writing bills and helping them write bills. I was 20. So
Well,
I think that's also something
qualified 20-year-old. You're out of the curve.
Yeah, exactly. Everything. And so that's also something when you're like, when you see some of these laws, and especially as a lawyer, I'm like, you're like, who came up with this? Did anyone really think through on this? And so, yeah. But that's where I did my undergrad, and I went to the Benjamin and Cardozo School of Law here in New York City.
Okay, very nice. I could just picture you talking about seeing how the sausage is made, so to speak, with the legislature and everything. I can picture you going over to Capitol Hill and they're interviewing you for a position. They're like, well, Ms. Avallone, you seem kind, you seem honest, you seem good-hearted and well-intentioned. This job ain't for you. This job ain't for you. Capitol Hill is not going to be for you, Anna. Kind, honest, good-hearted. You're unqualified. You're utterly unqualified for the position, right? So when you got to law school, did you have any idea what it is that you wanted to do when you ultimately became an attorney?
I fell into like it. I like the fight. I like arguing for people's rights. And I'm the person that in the courtroom that won't tell you what I have. You advocate for your clients. And it's because if they could go and advocate for themselves, we wouldn't have this profession. Right. And it's important to be the voice for people that aren't being heard.
Is that a tough part of the job sometimes? Because it seems to be for some of us in our nature to get out there and do that. But I'll be in court sometimes and I'll see an attorney who's sort of laying down on certain issues, and it just blows my mind and drives me nuts. And I think, why is this person not fighting back on this? Why are you not going for this? Is your job. Do your job.
Right. I mean, I find that there's many attorneys, especially some attorneys I've seen that really have been practicing for years, where it's like, I'm just here to get paid. Yeah. I'm not going to really put in any real effort on this. I'm just here to get paid. And I feel like that's not effective.
It's not. It's not. They're part of the system. And there's too many of them out there. It gives lawyers a bad name. I know that we've got a bad enough name. We don't need extra people helping out on that front. Growing up, was that in your nature growing up? Did you really have passionate positions about what's right and what's wrong and take those positions?
Yeah. I'm somebody that I look at it like, especially when it came, even I remember as a child, we would have like our social studies classes where we'd argue about current events, and one of them were like gun rights, and like, should we have guns, should we not have guns? And I looked at it like, I want to be able to protect myself. So if I'm like, I think that I also want to be the person with guns, because the thing is, the people, even if they were to ban guns, the people that are still going to hurt you with the guns will find the guns. They're going to find it. And at that point, it's something in which I at least want to feel like I can protect myself.
Are you
Anna,
implying that the criminals will break the law?
Yeah, right.
I just wanted to check. Sorry.
I'd love to murder all these innocent people, but I can't have the gun because that would be against the law.
Right.
Right?
I got this rake here.
The problem is that you're injecting common sense into the discussion, Anna.
Sorry.
That's the problem. The problem is that you're trying to inject logic into the conversation. And it seems like if you step back from it and listen to the way you said, okay, well, I had a doctor in Oklahoma say this to me one time, and moving to Oklahoma from New York, total culture shock as far as the Second Amendment goes. Many other things, but particularly the Second Amendment. And we were having a conversation about gun rights and, the private ownership of firearms and how civilians own firearms in Oklahoma. And he said, listen, I have no intention of ever harming anybody. I hope I never have to use my firearms. And if you could tell me that every gun in the world were going to disappear tomorrow if I gave mine up, then maybe we could have some kind of discussion. But until then, there's no discussion. Other bad intentioned people are going to have firearms. Then I'm going to have firearms to protect myself. And it's as simple as that. And for some reason, people don't seem to understand that on the other side. Do you think that it might be a lack of education and exposure for these people who take these ignorant positions?
Yeah, I believe what I find with like just the US in general is that you'll have like cities where you'll find more of like a liberal presence in the city areas, but you have other areas that are not city areas. And you have this big disconnect because you have some people where it's like, oh, but we want to be humanitarian, we want to do this, but they're not living where these other people are living. They're not experiencing what they're experiencing. And how can you go and give a position and tell someone a position when you haven't lived their life or walked in their shoes? And I think that that's something that we need to be doing. I find that as our world becomes more connected, I would say, you have your social apps, you have Facebook, we become more disconnected. We only want to listen to people that have the same ideas and opinions as ourselves. And we're not willing to reach over and really like look at like, why do you think this way? Or why do you think that this issue is important? And actually talk to someone on the other side. Because they've already decided.
I was doing a TikTok.
You was doing a TikTok, you was paying attention.
Sorry.
You're doing some kind of a dance, really, Chris?
Right. I was a little tied up there.
I got people all day, they text me these TikTok videos. They don't have the app.
I like the app. I really do,
you do?
But I also find that it's something that really my attention span has changed since getting the app.
Oh, really?
It's been, because you have 30-second videos, and if like I find that 30 seconds should be enough, but now it's kind of like, oh no, I have to keep scrolling and scrolling. It's not funny yet. We didn't get to the punchline yet. No, I gotta keep going to the next video. So yeah.
A lot of psychology in the design of these things, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, what's that all about, Chris?
Well, I have read they designed it, how you scroll up, especially on like Instagram and things like that. It's almost like the slot machine, You just like you keep going and going until you get that jackpot.
So you have the
punchline, like you said.
You have the dopamine hit every time you.
Yeah, you get the likes, the dopamine, right.
Wow. And so why would they be doing that, Chris?
It's basically it's addictive. It is addictive, right? We're probably all addicted in a little bit. I mean, I admit I probably use it more than I should. and these kids are just on it all the time. Although it's interesting over in China.
Wait, hold on. You have TikTok, Philly?
I don't have TikTok.
I was gonna
but
say.
I do have some other platforms, you know.
I was going to say, is there like an age limit on TikTok? Like, nah, you're too old to use TikTok, bro.
I was in the Senate for 120 years, yes.
That's awesome.
But I was reading an article recently about over in China, they're pushing out educational videos to the kids over there using it. So they're getting like science videos, physics, history.
But hold on. If the government is controlling the education, are they education videos, like in air quotes? Or
I think some of it is true education, like stuff, college level science and history and physics. And then, obviously there's some propaganda in there too. Like
that's what I was going to say. They got to be teaching them to hate capitalism in the United States.
Yeah, I'm sure that's part of their history class. Yeah.
History classes hate capitalism in the United States of America. That's
right. Exactly.
Oh, that's interesting. Anna, do you find that when you're dealing with, let's talk a little bit about what do they call it over there? I keep calling it children and youth because that's what we have. They call it CYS over here in Pennsylvania.
Well, they call them Child Protective Services here.
Okay.
Then they have ACS, which is the Administration of Children's Services. Those are the two agencies that I deal with primarily. And I will say that both of those agencies are terrible at doing their jobs.
Okay.
They really are.
Now, we hear a lot of that in Pennsylvania as well. We hear a lot of people who are good families on the verge of being broken up by the government for absolutely outrageous reasons. Do you see these kinds of cases where you have these allegations like that? And I know that you got to preserve confidentiality and maybe you can't get into too many details on too many things, but is there anything off the top of your head that you think of where it's like, wow, I can't believe that for this allegation and this fact pattern, let's say, but this family is A, running the risk of being broken up, and B, probably having to pay tens of thousands, if not into six figures, to try to keep this family together. You see these kinds of wild scenarios?
Yes, I do. I've had one case in particular where they were a husband and wife and they got into an argument and the police got called. Usually, if there's any domestic violence, police will make an arrest right there on the spot. It's how they handle their cases when it comes to domestic violence. So there will usually always be a criminal case. What happens with that, though, is then family court also gets notified. So usually if there's a criminal court case, there will be an Article 10 proceeding, which is your abuse and neglect proceedings, in which now the parents have to not only deal with criminal court, but also family court. And family court then comes up with different, then it's like you have either CPS or ACS create plans for the parents to follow and recommend services. And these are the same services that pretty much these clients will now have to pay. It might be counseling where they have to pay for it. They're not necessarily free. But if they do not do these services and they do not follow their select plan, then ACS can keep their kids and they won't get their kids back. And if ACS actually removes the kids from the home and the parents do not get them back within the year, they can be adopted out and they could lose all parental rights.
Crazy.
Wow.
So it's a really serious thing when it happens. I had one client where he got into that argument. He ended up getting a criminal court case, which was dismissed. However, the family court case was continuing. And the big problem was the wife didn't need the services. And she's like, I am fine. I don't want to do these services. I don't believe that I am a domestic violence victim. I don't think this is for me. You have the wrong person. And ACS just kept pushing down their throat. No, you have to do the services. No, you have to do the services. And then to make matters worse, it was something where the ACS worker then got involved in the children's school. And I mean, her son and everything had really strong Republican values, which is fine. But they're like, see, he's causing chaos here. He must have some problems and some emotional issues. And I think he said he was sad, about this whole like court proceeding because it was putting stress on his family.
No
So now the kid has
kidding.
right. And then they're like, well, he has mental health issues now. We have to take care of him. And they literally took this kid in the middle of the night because the mother's like, I don't think I need to take him to a hospital. I can get a private therapist or something for him that, you know, like he'd be more comfortable talking to than a random hospital in person that we don't know the people there. And he's right. If this court case wasn't going on, he might not even have these issues. So because the mother did not take him to one of their recommendations, they showed up in the middle of the night and took the kid anyways.
Wow.
You had 5 police officers tackle a 12-year-old boy and drag him off to the hospital to be evaluated.
It's crazy.
And then they made the mother a respondent in the action because she wouldn't use their services.
That year thing you mentioned, Anna, like, I mean, the courts are kind of backed up right now too, right? So isn't that, do they extend that? Is that like the old policy? Or like, it doesn't seem like a lot of time, especially with the way things are with COVID.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is that it depends on the judge that you have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it also depends on the caseworker and, you know, the position the government's taking on it. They might be like, well, we gave them the recommendations. They could have signed up for this already, but sometimes there's a backlog.
That's crazy.
And
yeah, right.
It's something in which, you know, for example, we have the EAC, which does supervised visits. They have been backed up for supervised visits. And I think now to actually get one, you won't have that visit for like 3 months because they're that far behind.
Wow. That's insane.
I got a couple of comments here. I want to read through them if I can.
Sure.
Well, first of all, SM Durso says, I'm going to go with yes, Newark is North Jersey. So I'm going to throw a poll out there. Is Newark North Jersey? I'm going to put this out there, see what everybody says. Ask the community, is Newark North Jersey? Okay, what else we got here? Joe Beermaster says, I wrote House bills for insurance law, so it sounds like he was referencing to what you were talking about, your time in the legislature. What do we have here? We have DG says, I just ate, Mike G. Please don't mention CYS, children and useless. Gary says, Anna seems very nice. Oh, that's why she's not fit for Washington, Gary. And Rita says, Anna is very interesting. And SM Durso said at one point, excellent point, Anna. So it seems like you're well received among the Mike G in the Morning family, Anna.
It's great. I'm glad that I'm well received. I mean, I really respect the show and I respect what you guys are doing here. And I really think that this is something that it needs to be discussed. It needs people, and I really feel that it's something where we have to hold the government accountable for how they treat our citizens. Sure. You have a lot of people that get dragged into situations that they probably really shouldn't be in. And I've seen cases where you have like ACS and CPS and there actually is abuse going on. And then the reports come back as, oh, it's unfounded.
Right.
It comes back with all these bruises like later. And then it's like, why didn't we see you just weren't doing your job?
Anna, do you think that some of these people who end up in these situations or people from the outside looking in take the position sometimes with these family law cases, oh, well, that could never happen to me? Because you tell them about all the abuses going on and they say, well, you know, they must have done something. That won't happen to me. Because I find that all the time on the criminal defense side, that people don't realize how the system eats people up. And they say, well, I would never be in that position. That person must have done something wrong if they ended up being charged with a crime, which
I would say 100% it could happen to you. This is something where it's just an isolated thing. And I've seen people who are in domestic violence relationships, and when ACS gets involved, it's something in which instead of helping the victim and maybe getting the resources that they need to leave, they then look at them like, oh, well, you put yourself in this situation. We have to remove your children And you now have to complete all these parenting courses, all this therapy, and you have to have it done within 3 months. And we'll see if we can give you your children back then. I've seen people lose their children because the services are backed up. It's something in which you think that the government will come in and help you, and they're not there to help you. And there's situations in which it could be as simple as a noise complaint or an argument with your wife or husband. And then all of a sudden the police are at your door. Now they think it's domestic violence. People get arrested, and then people end up in court. And it happens. I've seen it happen to Upper East Side couple families in Manhattan. I've seen it happen to people living in like the suburbs. I've seen it happen to people like living in apartments. It really is in which it happens to everybody, and it doesn't necessarily mean you were a bad parent at all, or that there is any real abuse for the government to come in now and tell you, one, how to parent your kids, two, how what services you need to take in order to get them back. And I think that, to be honest, most of these workers, they're not really finding I feel like the cases where there is severe abuse, they're not really writing up those cases because I don't think they really want to work. That requires
that that is something that you say that they don't really want to work, because SM Durso says over here that what you're describing sounds like a money machine for the bureaucracy. We had a comment a couple of points earlier where DG says, I lost my career, spent over $98,000 fighting this corrupt system of CYS, Children and Youth Services, and no one is willing to speak the truth or stand up to them, not even lawyers. So there are people listening to this program right now who know exactly what you're talking about. They've been there. And, do you think that perhaps that there is a flaw with the system that pumps money into the system by all of this happening? And, if they could get away with not doing the hard work, like you're saying, that it's more beneficial to keeping the system running?
Yeah, I think that, to be honest, I will find that the system in a lot of ways is broken. It's not necessarily like I'm finding in certain cases. Sometimes a parent that gets custody isn't necessarily the best fit parent, or raising the child in an environment where they can thrive. I've seen cases where, sorry, my 5-year-old's running around, but
hey, we're cool with 5-year-olds around here. It's funny because the other half of what is known as the Justice Brothers, one of my longtime co-counsels, attorney Richard Roberts, he works these CYS cases here in Pennsylvania. I tried to get him on the program to join us this evening. Maybe we'll do that another time, but he had a prior obligation. And we have his kids coming on in when he joins us on the program, or we'll have a dog running in. That's perfectly fine. We're cool with kids and dogs on this program, Anna. You got the right show for that.
Yeah, that's right.
So
how much say do the kids have in the process? I'm sure it depends on their age, but like how much say do they have in what's happening to them?
Okay. I mean, I've seen, it really depends where you are. I've seen more judges listen to children when it is in the 5 boroughs. They listen to them less when you go out to like Long Island, or you go up into like Westchester, New York, and further upstate. It's something in which I've seen children where they want to be with the other parent. They find the parent that they're currently with is abusive. I had one that went and filed an order of protection, and the judge said, well, you're too young for that. If you were 14 and the child was literally going to be 14 in the next like 2 days, we'd consider it, but you're still too young. So and denied the application.
Right.
Instantaneously, when they turn 14,
right,
they have this moment of clarity, and they're able to.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Sounds broken, like you said. Yeah.
Sounds broken.
Yeah.
DG says broken is being polite. I'm married to the same man for almost 30 years, the devout Catholic, never even had a parking ticket, and he was a target because I could not afford to fight them. Absolutely nuts. You mentioned something earlier, and you were talking about how you had a case, and they were throwing out there that the person was a Republican, as if that made them a danger in particular. Do you find that these days, a lot of times you have them throwing that out there and equating Republican with something like racist or hateful or unstable?
Yeah, I mean, because for me, even like opposing counsels, like he's like a Republican, right? And I'm like, and what does that mean? Is it something that should bother me? Because he hasn't treated me disrespectfully.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I have parents. Like I grew up, my parents are Republicans. So I feel like a lot of it is people get their opinions, and then they don't even bother to try and like understand where the other side's coming from. They just judge them as like, oh, they're wrong, and I don't have to listen to them. And we're in an age where if you don't like something, you can just cancel it.
Right.
It's canceled. And instead of really trying to bridge any gap, we'll just cancel it and make it go away, and it's going to be fine. And that's not how life works. That's not how the world works. And the truth is, if you want everything to advance, you have to work together. It's not something in which you can just go in and say, well, I think I'm right. And because I think I'm right, that's all that matters. Oh, yeah.
Have you had anybody accusing your clients of being racist at any point?
Yeah, that same opposing counsel was like, well, he probably like doesn't even. I'm like, well, he treats me respectfully, so I doubt that he's racist, and I would be the first to know. So just saying.
I'm not sure they know the meaning of the word, right?
Yeah. It means something different now. It really does. Yeah.
Racist people tend to do racist things, right?
Yeah.
I love that.
Right. Like, there's definitely like I would know.
Well, defending someone who's
I would
not
have known
racist
at the
can be
first
racist
consultation. So it's something. Yeah.
Liberty, you were throwing something out there.
Oh no, I was just saying I love her response. And what does that mean? That's gonna be my new response when we're saying something. Oh, he's a Trump supporter, a Biden supporter, and what does that mean? Okay.
And what does that
So
mean?
what does that mean?
So what? We gotta
Right.
get to this, right?
And I
What
think
does
that it should be.
mean?
But it takes a lot of guts to do that, because there's a lot of pressure. So.
Especially in New York, though, right? Especially in New York, because with you coming out there and saying, what does that mean to the whole Republican thing? That sort of puts you in this tiny minority, and
right.
that, you really got to watch your back, no?
I look at it like I'm somebody where I don't look at somebody and I look at like, oh, well, because you follow this, I now made a complete assumption of you and your personality and your struggles, and you equate this now. No, I look at it like if I can have a conversation with you, our ideals and our morals match. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care about who you voted here, there, whatever. As long as our morals match, there shouldn't be an issue. So I do find some people will look at me and be like, but what do you mean? Like, this is something that's important, and they're obviously going with this person, and this person's terrible. I'm like, okay, but how does that actually affect me?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Have you heard them make any
And
accusations about somebody being a Trump supporter as a basis for being unstable?
Yeah, I find in New York that especially that's like a really hot topic issue.
Really?
I mean, for me, oh yes. And I've come from like the public defender world in New York. So it's very much like you see Trump and everyone's like, oh my God. I look at it like we've had like presidents that have been good, presidents have been bad. And at the same time, it does, as long as we're able to reach our goals together and work together, then that's all that really matters.
Yeah, but doesn't that
exactly.
sound fundamentally unfair that based on who you supported or who you voted for, that should have an impact on whether you're fit to be a parent or whether you're a danger to society because you voted for the wrong candidate?
That shouldn't matter at all. It shouldn't matter at all. I think that has no place in how someone parents their children. I feel that like politics should not have any real room in like family court in that way at all. It shouldn't matter like, oh, he's a support, but it's like, but does he feed the child? Is the child clothed? Is the child in school?
Right.
Oh, we're still hung up on who his political associations. Like that to me, that has nothing to do with the child. As long
Have Have you seen
Like, it
situations
doesn't.
where there is bias in the courtroom, like from the judge or anything? Like, has it gotten to that level, or are the judges still, handling it appropriately?
Repeat that question one more time. You like went in and out.
Oh, sorry. Have you seen any of that bias affect, the decision by the judges at all? Like, has it gotten to that level? Like, we know right now in society it's becoming an issue, but have you seen it affect, decisions?
I haven't
have?
Really,
okay.
I haven't necessarily seen it something where they're like Trump supporter and it's affected the judge's decision.
Okay.
But I have seen it be something that opposing counsel has brought up to try and make it an issue.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the point of what's the point of holding elections if we're going to say, okay, yeah, we're going to have elections. You can vote for who you want, but if you vote for this side, then we're going to take away your kids. We're going to take away your guns. We're going to put you in a mental institution. That's all. So yeah, make your pick. This completely free, fair, and open election. Everything, you could choose whoever you want, as long as it's not that guy. Because if you choose that guy, we're going to take away your kids, your liberty, your firearms, and put you in a mental institution. That's all.
And here's a form you can re-register as a Democrat if you'd like.
Yeah, right.
Trump supporters bad parents, Biden supporters good parents.
Trump is bad, yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah.
So.
I don't want to. To me, it's.
I don't want to dive too deep into this, and I hesitate to even bring it up. But I'm just curious as to whether it's become an issue. Have there been any issues you dealt with regarding whether the parents have chosen to vaccinate the child or took a position one way or the other? Has that ever made its way into any of these cases where they're saying, oh, well, this person doesn't want to vaccinate their children, so therefore they're unfit?
I've seen that. In New York, vaccinations are like number one. So they will actually see whether or not you're a fit parent if you're getting your child vaccinated, because they see that as you're harming the child if you're not getting them vaccinated. And it's something in which I've seen, like in the abuse and neglect cases, where they pressure the parent. You're like, well, you want to keep your children, right? You want to end this case. They need to be vaccinated. We need to see their records. You need to bring that into the next court appearance, or we're going to redetermine whether or not your kid should stay with you. So I believe that's definitely a big issue.
Is that including the COVID vaccination, or is this like polio and the mumps and stuff?
There have been cases where they've suspended visits for parents that refused to be vaccinated. So there was
for COVID.
Yeah. Yep, for COVID. It was a
show me your papers.
That's literally what it is. I mean, whenever I go to restaurants, I have to show my card.
Yeah, how is it in New York? How is it in New York?
If you are in the city or any of the 5 boroughs, if you do not have your card, you can do nothing. You cannot go to the gym. You cannot go out to eat. It's very restrictive. And now, for me, my child's 5. So now they're saying 5-year-olds need it. I've already got the notification from his school. I expect that if he doesn't get the vaccine, then it will be something where he may not be able to do in-person learning anymore. And literally, I was in Florida at the height of the pandemic. I was staying there with my parents. It was a situation. Oh yeah. But we all remained healthy. I mean,
I'm in Florida right now. Yeah. I needed a break from Philly.
Yeah.
It's getting a little crazy.
Oh man. Well, that's something that's changed. I will tell everybody that we got a message this week, something along the lines of, I get the hate mail, on a fairly consistent basis, right? There's always a steady stream of hate mail flowing in, right, Philly, Chris?
Oh, yes. We love the hate mail. Please send more in. MikeGinthemorning.com.
Please send more in to MikeGinthemorning.com. It always gets me, too, because they're like, I hate your show so much that I want to turn it off within the 5 minutes, but I end up listening to the 3 hours. It's like, well, dude, nobody's holding you at gunpoint to listen to the show. You know, you could just like click that button and not listen, or if you're in your car, you could just like turn that little knob, and you don't have to listen to this station. But for some reason, they insist on listening anyhow. And somebody said something along the lines of, because we had that episode with Brick a couple of weeks ago. They said something along the lines of, well, you said you weren't going to talk about COVID anymore and that you were sick of it, and you broke your word, and now you're talking about it, and, you know, a lot of us are sick of it too. It's like, well, you listened to the episode, I guess.
And none of us said that. I don't think anybody said that.
I don't think I did say. He made it seem like I took some kind of an oath that I would never discuss the matter any further.
Maybe you should do a survey about it, but I don't know. It's pretty relevant. I mean, you know, it's interesting too because things are really ramping up again. You know, like you're talking about, Anna, in New York, the stuff that's going on now. And if you're saying even in the court system, the judges are, you know, questioning whether or not the kids are vaccinated, that's pretty intense for something that's still emergency use. And, you know, we had a really good episode, as Mike just mentioned a couple weeks ago, where we had a Six Sigma master black belt on going over some of the VAERS stuff. And there's some concerning
stuff.
You may
or may not know what that is, Anna, because I had no idea. I thought the guy was going to come on and like break bricks for us or something like that. But apparently,
I was thinking that.
Oh, she was thinking that. See, Chris, you talk about this like. So Chris is retired numbers guy. Is that a fair thing to call you, Chris? You're a retired numbers guy?
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
And this is very, very big in his field. This Six Sigma black belt means like you're at the top of your game for these numbers evaluations and analyses. But he always kind of throws that out there like everybody knows what he's talking about. It's like, no, Chris, only numbers nerds know what you're talking about. So you got to explain it a little further.
Well, yeah, it's like the folks who work on rockets and GE and play, you know, they do all the calculations for quality, you know, to make sure that parts are within specifications. So it's pretty important stuff. They're the kind of guys who make sure the planes aren't, you know, falling out of the sky and everything's working properly. So anyway, he was doing some analysis with some medical doctors on the adverse events in the VAERS database, which I'm sure you've heard of. So it's interesting that the court is leaning toward, you know, vaccinating them if we really don't have the long-term studies yet on safety.
Even if you're not prepared, you know, I'm not saying that people can be prepared and have all the information to take a position one way or the other definitively. But I think one thing that you have to recognize that when the courts say, oh, well, you must do this or you won't see your kids, let's say the kid does have an adverse reaction to it. What's the court going to do to help? Are they going to come take care of the kid and pay for the medical bills and everything like that?
Right.
Nope. And that's the problem, because a lot of times these judges will make decisions. And when they make decisions, whatever adverse action happens, they look at it like, well, how was I supposed to know that this was a thing? And they really don't take the accountability for it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've seen, like, for example, judges where there's clearly actually domestic violence going on and them ignore it. And the kid ends up being hurt.
Yeah, you hear those stories all too often, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of it is that with COVID and with these vaccines, they won't take accountability. They're going to look at it like, well, I was just trying to do it in the best interest of the child. Right. How was I supposed to know? And a lot of it is like, if you don't know, then you shouldn't be deciding. It shouldn't be on the table.
Seems like common sense, right? Yeah. Should be common sense. Should be common sense.
Yeah, it seems like that would be common sense, but that's what our whole country and our system is supposed to be founded upon, right? The fact that individuals have liberties to make their decisions, and the consequences will be theirs, right? It's not the government's responsibility to make those decisions for you, much like the government isn't going to step in, God forbid something goes wrong. That's going to be for you and your family to deal with. And if you sort of mess with any little piece of it, it's kind of like the butterfly effect, right? Where if you mess with one little piece over here, it's not going to be the same on this end. If they say, okay, we're going to get involved in this area over here, but we're not going to take care of the consequences. That defeats the whole purpose of the system, and it ruins everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. That's exactly, and that's why I'm like, if they're not willing to take accountability, then they should not be enforcing anything about it. Because like, I'm very much a big believer on, you have to take accountability for when you messed up. And if there's a potential to mess up and it happens, you have to own it. There shouldn't be you just kind of like walking away from the issue and washing your hands.
Right.
It shouldn't be happening.
So,
yeah, and they're basically immune from that.
Oh yeah. I mean, to get a judge like recused from a case, it's almost like it's unheard of. Mm-hmm. And it's something in which you can clearly see there's a bias. I mean, I was working on one case.
I'm just kidding.
I won't even get started. I've had some wild cases. We'll put it that way. We'll put it that way. I had a sitting judge sue the firm that I was with, and I had to cross-examine a sitting judge in open court. But anyway,
he'll be on next week, by the way, as our guest.
Yeah, he'll be on next week. We're good friends now.
Right. Yeah, you guys get along great. Smoke cigars and everything.
Yeah. Anna, what do you think that if you could tell people one piece of advice or one thing that you think might surprise people about your field, whether it be in criminal defense or dealing with children, either dealing with restraining orders, if you could tell people one thing that would either A, help them in the future, right? Hey, heads up about this, or B, something that you think would surprise them about any of those, what would it be? Is there anything that comes to mind that you say, oh, people really get this wrong all the time. They really don't understand this and they've got it totally backwards.
Okay. My thing is, when an order of protection is issued against you, stay away from that person. I don't care if that person calls you. I don't care if that person says, baby, I'm so sorry. I love you. I miss you. The moment, even if you text them back and say, stop talking to me, you're now in violation. If you see them walking on the street and they see you walking on the street, it's something in which you're in violation. And people don't get that enough. And I get criminal defense clients all the time where there's an order of protection and they're calling the person from jail. And I'm like, you know that those phone calls are recorded, right? You created a criminal contempt. Guess what? That's not going away. And they seem to think like, well, I'll just explain to the judge that I didn't really cause any problems or I didn't cause any harm. And I'm like, that doesn't matter. Because there was a lawful order and you violated. And there's nothing that can save you or case law that can save you where it's just like, oh, I was just only gonna I only went to give the person flowers. No, it's you have to stay away from that. And in order to keep yourself safe, I would say, especially during custody battles, make sure that you follow that order to the T. Because once one's levied against you, if you're found in contempt, you're not winning that custody battle. And it's something in which you're probably also going to be thrown in or have a criminal record where a lot of these people, they have clean records. They're law-abiding citizens. They've done nothing wrong. But because this one person is making allegations against you, now it's something in which you have to protect yourself. You have to stay away from that person, and you have to make sure that you're not falling into any traps.
Totally. I've got this client, I say this, I joke about it, but it's really not funny. Years and years ago, he got charged with this crime because his ex-wife, was his then wife, made these totally bogus accusations against him and then wanted to meet with him to reconcile. And they met at this Chinese restaurant that was right next door to the courthouse, I think it was. And she ended up, dropping a dime on him after the fact and getting him in trouble. It wasn't even after the fact. It was the thing wasn't even done, but I always tell him that he got arrested for eating Chinese food. We talk about the time he got arrested for eating Chinese food. And so I'm sure that sort of thing happens all the time. I'll ask you this, Anna, though. If you got that person they're supposed to stay away from and you're walking down the street and they're having a heart attack on the sidewalk, are you allowed to give them CPR or you just say, oh, sorry,
No, I can't help you. I can't help you. I didn't see you. I'm going to go in the other direction now. That's what it is. There's no any type of communication. You just gotta let them die. You gotta let them go.
Wasn't that a Seinfeld episode or something? The Good Samaritan law thing or something, Mike?
Was it? Oh,
I think so. I think there's like the Good Samaritan thing in Seinfeld or whatever.
We'll have to pull it up. By the way, I did threw up on the poll over here. Are you so sick of COVID that you don't want to hear any more COVID discussions on the show? 100% say no. So whoever that guy was who wrote in the hate mail, maybe he's not participating this evening, or maybe he's changed his mind. I don't know. Maybe he's either not listening or not participating.
Right.
Anna, I want to ask you this. Tell us something about you that most people wouldn't know. Tell us something about you that you find interesting that most people wouldn't know.
Mm-hmm.
That you can say on the air.
I'm trying to think right, like make sure it's PG.
No, please don't. Please don't. We're past the first hour, so we're okay, actually.
Yeah, I would say
no more pesky FCC.
That's right.
That people don't know about me that I find to be interesting. You know what I find interesting? Complete pseudoscience. It means nothing. It really does. But I really enjoy horoscope signs, especially when I'm on my own. I'm like, especially like I just love it. And on top of that, if I'm having a bad day, it's like, I'm sorry. I'm just a Cancer.
I understand. I'm Cancer also.
Really? Totally that's funny. That's funny. It's interesting that people who fall into birth months, I guess it is. It's that the way that works? Birth month?
Yeah, it falls into like a certain part of like the birth month. Mm-hmm. I mean, and there's a whole thing to it. It gets deep. It gets real deep. People think it's just sun signs.
It's all the alignment of the planets when you're born, basically.
The alignment of the planets.
Exactly.
Yeah. It seems like there's some legitimacy to it.
Not too long after I was, the same time of the beginning of June, basically. And he and I have very similar personality. That could be a coincidence, but I do find that interesting.
I find that, like, for me, and I downloaded this app called the Pattern app, and I will say that I never felt more seen and understood by this app. By just putting in my time of birth and where I was born and my birthday, and it just seemed to really describe me. And I'm like, this app is dangerous. You know too much.
That's funny.
What was the name of the app again?
It's called The Pattern.
The Pattern. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anna, we got a good question for you. SM Durso says, Anna, would the court honor a religious exemption regarding the vaccine?
I will say yes. Okay. I will say that religious exemptions can be honored, but a lot of it also does come down to, like, how do I put it? The worse COVID got, the more the judge was less likely to honor them. But I will say in the past, when it comes to schools and just your regular vaccinations, as long as you have that religious exemption, then you should be fine.
Do you have a good COVID religious exemption letter template? Do you have one of those?
I do have a template.
Okay, I was good because I was going to say I've got a pretty good one that we've had people for employment purposes get the exemption. The people come to me with these, deeply held religious beliefs, and they're looking for a way to keep their job while still
honor their religion.
And we've been very fortunate that we've had a lot of people be able to keep their job because of this. And even at companies, major companies that did not honor or did not accept religious exemptions from other people. Mm-hmm. So I'll shoot that over to you, and feel free to do with it what you'd like. Yeah, because this is important that people are able to preserve their liberties. Good. Jeremy says, I'm very sick of COVID, but I still want to complain about it.
Welcome to the club, Jeremy.
Yeah. All right. Good deal. Well, Anna, we don't want to take up too much more of your time on Christmas Eve. We really appreciate you joining us and giving us sort of the scoop on what's going on over in New York with all these different abuses of the system that a lot of our listeners may have been aware of, it seems, because they've been involved with it, whether it's in New York or New Jersey or Pennsylvania. But I'm sure a lot of our listeners were totally unaware of it. And it's a real eye-opening experience for them to be able to hear this from you. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for standing up for people's liberties the way you do day in and day out, and for really being a fighter. We need more fighters out there like you. We hope that you can join us again on the program sometime soon. I would love, Philly Chris, what would you think about her and Rich Roberts on the same program, going back and forth about this stuff? I think
that would be fantastic. We need to schedule that. Yeah.
Because he's like the Anne Avalone of Pennsylvania.
Right. No, I'm sure you guys have some interesting stories you can talk about and share. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really uncanny because he does the children and youth stuff. Obviously, there's PFAs out here. I've brought him into the fold with the gun stuff. We work a lot of gun cases together over the last many years, and he does criminal defense. So it's sort of like everything that's right in your wheelhouse, Emma.
He's one of Mike's best employees, too.
Hey, yeah, right? We always joke. He's my equal. He's at a different firm. We work a lot of cases as co-counsel, but a lot of people have referred to, well, it's really his son who started it all, calling me his boss. Right. So we always make jokes about that, even though it's not true. I am not his boss.
You are his boss.
He's not my boss either. He tries to flip that around on me. So, well, Anna, thank you so much. We wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas. Thank your son for, was it a son that you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank your son for his patience. Thank your dog for the patience. And wish you guys a very Merry Christmas. We'll see you soon.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me. It's been great. And I hope to really come back and talk soon and go over these issues. Thank you guys again. All right.
Absolutely.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks for coming on.
For those of us just tuning in, you're listening to Mike G in the Morning with The Law Matters, only on the Freedom Station, WFYL. All right. Here's what I want to do next.
What do you want to do?
We're going to have a short version of the program today because it is Christmas Eve, and people have things to do, time to spend with their families. I think that was an excellent interview. I myself was fascinated, almost as a listener more than anything else.
It was good, yeah.
Hear her talk about this stuff, because this is not stuff that I deal with regularly on that family side, other than occasionally helping Rich out on some of these cases,
Right.
So, but what I want to do is, I came up with that question towards the end of the interview. Tell everybody something about yourself that people might not know, but you find interesting. I'm going to start that with you, Philly Chris.
Oh, you're going to start with me?
I'm going to start with you.
Interesting. Okay. All righty. Well,
he's just stalling for time so he can make something up.
To my head,
yeah, you got some?
Well, I don't know if people realize how good of friends we are off the air.
Right.
I don't know if they just sort of think that this is a job for us and that this is what we do. I don't know that they realize that this program, really, the two of us started because of all of these conversations we've had privately over the years, and thought that it would be pretty interesting. Really, think about how many friends we've had over the last few years before we got on the air, that they would want to patch in to a conference call with us just to hear us going back and forth talking about these issues. So, well, if these people want to be in on these private conversations, then probably people want to hear about it on the air.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We did have somebody say yes. Yeah. Somebody did say yes. Hold on. Before think about that, because it seems like you were thinking.
Okay.
On the
Is
poll,
that the burning smell?
The final version of the poll, we did have 14% say yes.
I did see that.
Are you so sick of COVID that you don't want to hear any more?
That's the hater.
Well,
Mr. Hate Mail has entered the chat.
You're rubbing your mic a little by accident, Mike, just so you know.
I sure did.
Yep.
Sure did. Knocked it right out of there. So let me ask this. If that person will be so kind or so brave, will you let us know who you are? Identify yourself in the comments.
Identify yourself in the comments.
Yeah, quit being an anonymous wimp.
And I'd like to know the one person who thinks Newark, New Jersey is not North Jersey.
That was me.
I thought that was you.
I did that.
I thought that would have been you because you're so far north.
No, I guess this is how I am, but I put a map in the doc because I need to show if you look at that and think it's not north, then what is it?
West.
Well, it's certainly south of Sussex County, New Jersey, right?
Middle New Jersey.
It's central New Jersey.
Central Jersey.
Which I hear people from Jersey hate that.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Is there such thing as central? Well, there should be such.
There is no central Jersey.
Between north and south.
Is there like a line right in the middle, and you're either north or south, but there's no central?
Yes.
Somebody tried to say something to me and said I was from South Jersey. And I remember we took it like as an offense. You know, there's definitely a rivalry between north and south for some reason.
I'd have to see it on the map, really.
I put the map
there's New York's armpit, and then there's South Jersey.
But anyway, it's not. It's just a tidbit. You don't have to rest, but it is there if anybody wants to see.
It's next to Manhattan, so that would be north.
You can't say Manhattan, call it Person-hattan.
Divide it into 3 sections.
Okay, I like that. Very well.
Was that Russ?
You can't call it Manhattan. It's Person-hattan.
It's Person-hattan.
Don't be such a jerk.
So I guess that person, I guess whoever voted yes will not identify themselves.
They will not.
I'm not trying to embarrass anybody here.
No, they already embarrassed themselves.
I want to hear if somebody's really so sick of it that they don't want to hear anything about it ever again. And I get that. I get how people can feel that way. Just tell us, identify yourself and tell us a little bit about it, because I'm interested to hear.
Yeah, it'd be
don't
interesting
hear about it. What's going through their head. Maybe they just don't want to hear about it at all. I get that. I mean, you get worn down from this stuff. You hear it every day since March of, before March. When did we start hearing about this? All right, February, March.
It's been like
it was like early March. I want to say late February, early March.
Jeremy says they hadn't. They hadn't. I love it.
Z-hatton.
That is great. They hadn't. That's perfect.
That's funny, too.
All right, so
Jeremy's on a roll tonight.
You've had enough time, Philly Chris. Tell us something about yourself that nobody else knows, or the audience wouldn't know. That
Gary already put in the comments. I gave him a bag of rice for Christmas last year.
A bag of rice for Christmas
instead of a bag of bees. No, I just throw that out there.
Bag of rice.
I don't know. I forget if I ever mentioned this on the show. I had some pretty severe health issues as a child, and I was never supposed to walk. So I want to thank my mother right now and my parents for taking good care of me in the March of Dimes, because I had some major issues during the first year of my life. So I don't think I mentioned that on the show, so I'll throw that out there.
Take that, doctors.
I mean, I'm still not a very good walker.
So. That's a very serious thing. I was going to say that you were involved in a professional wrestling show where you played the Nice Ninja.
The Nice Ninja, that's right.
We want to show that on if you can get that footage digital. You've got it on tape right now?
I have it on my computer now. I wonder if I could share the screen.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Let me see if I can do it.
See if you can do it.
Because my high school boyfriend Stu did send it to me recently.
Your high school boyfriend Stu. I know him as my buddy Stu. This is the first time.
My buddy Stu, yeah. I told that story. My grandmother used to be like, come in to eat. You and your boyfriend. Dinner's ready. I'm like, Nanny, he's not my boyfriend.
It's not my boyfriend.
Yeah, right. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if there's a way to share the screen, though.
How about you, Russ? Russ, tell everybody something about yourself.
I'm actually
the audience might not know.
I'm actually from They-hatton.
You're from They-hatton?
No, I'm not. Nobody would ever purposely admit that.
You know how we're going to close out the show this evening? We're going to call Bill Clinton on the telephone. We've got him lined up. Bill Clinton is going to join us on the program. We're going to get him on the phone and do an interview with Bill Clinton. So for everybody who's tuning in, stay tuned for that. We've got Bill Clinton coming up. Russ, tell us something about yourself that the audience might not know that you find interesting.
I don't want to ruin the surprise.
Well, no. Anything.
Okay.
See if I can share the screen.
I'm not really sure. There's going to be a lot of silence here, like there was for Chris.
Okay.
Well, I think of something that's.
I know you knew that you were
sharing.
next. You know that you knew you were next. Do you have something that you can tell everybody about yourself that the audience might not know, but you find interesting?
Well, Chris kind of turned it upside down because I was like, well, I was going to say something like more positive, but then I was like, maybe I should go toe for toe on something bad. No, I'm just kidding. I guess I'll just say I was a choir girl in school, and I was in every single choir you can ever imagine, all regional, all state, all county, and I was one of the youngest ones in my school to be in all county, and I don't know, and all state, and just really liked it.
Are you in good hands? All right, I got one. So, what happened to Chris's feed? Chris, you messed up my screen.
He's trying to share his screen so we can see the nice ninja.
Chris, you're banned from doing technical things. How do I fix it? I don't even know how. Okay, there we go. All right. So one thing about me, I believe in December 2019, I actually had some form of COVID, because I was sick for a good 2-3 weeks. Geez, how do I do this? And it was to the point where I was we had an office at the time. We had that fancy schmancy one before everything went remote. And what are you guys doing?
I think I figured it out. Is it sharing?
What's going on?
Yeah, well, yeah, if you can full
Chris
screen
took
that
over
somehow.
the show.
Chris took over.
Well, yeah, we got to see this. This is amazing.
Sorry, I was trying to figure it out.
Yeah, all right.
Let me know when you're ready, and we'll give it a shot.
Just do it, Chris. You already took over the screen.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the nice ninja. Can you hear it?
No, there's no sound.
Chris, what is
No sound.
Skype is the gatekeeper of all sounds. You shall not pass sound from your sound device, lest you create echo.
What do I need to do?
What?
What did you say I need to do?
I was speaking as the Skype gods.
There's nothing we can do to get sound.
There's nothing you can do.
Might be able to.
Short of having a soundboard like I do.
Is that you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm trying to see if
he's
it
the
works.
only one out of all of us that uses a smelly Mac. I'm sorry, Chris. Your Mac does smell.
I think there's a way.
It smells like bad apples.
Where'd it go?
Mac.
All right, let me see if it works.
Nope.
All right, well, just why don't you just tell us what's going on over here? We'll figure out a way someday. Is that the nice
Can
ninja?
you see it?
That's you in black?
Oh.
Yeah.
Doing the face mask thing before it was cool. I'm kidding. It was never cool.
Chris, that's you. Oh my gosh.
That's me.
You're so thin.
It looks like him. You can tell it's him, no?
Yeah, you can tell from his
You have to
hairdo.
play with the sound though. There's some good sound.
Oh my gosh.
Chris, why didn't you just send this to me?
Well, we'll have to do that. Should we wait?
No, because
I can hear sound.
Can you hear it?
I think that's just coming through his
Can you hear?
microphone.
Oh, maybe I
now.
can play it through the mic. Is that working?
Yeah.
Who's that guy? Chris, who's the hammerhead? Are we gonna get copyright strikes because of the music?
Watch this guy. Say he's almost as crazy as Crazy Willie. All right? Pay attention to his every move. Watch that salt he usually keeps in his hands, too. Keep up. Look up for the feet. Now down. Looks good. Looks good. Okay? Come on, where's the ball? Come on, grab. Get him eliminated. Watch your feet, eliminator. Watch your feet. The referee is down already. Watch your feet, eliminator.
Oh, nice bump kick.
Nice Ninja versus Ginger Ninja. Is that made out of bed sheets?
There you go. I like it. Pin him. Oh. There's an awful ring, by the way. Oh. A little stiff there.
Yeah. You really hit me a
You
few
got you
times.
pretty good on those, right?
Yeah.
Look at that head of hair on Philly Chris, by the way. Look at
Whoa!
that. Oh.
How old is Chris in this?
Redheaded.
Oh. Smashed right on the butt.
Finish him. That was awful.
How do you feel, Eliminator? Feels tired.
Spin him around.
Hit him. What are you waiting for, Ninja?
Finish him.
1, 2. That's a slow
Nice
count.
Ninja wins.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Congratulations, Nice Ninja. Well done.
Thanks.
Thank you. There it is.
Now give me my show back.
Yeah, all right.
We'll never see you the
Turned
same,
off
Philly
now.
Chris.
I cannot believe that head of hair on the Nice Ninja.
Oh
What do you
my
guys think?
gosh.
Stop sharing. All right. There we go. So there it is. Camp Dakota back in the 80s.
Camp Dakota.
That's hilarious.
Jeremy
yeah, it was
says, my
fun.
kids started wrestling this year. They thought this is what they'd be doing.
Right. Well, they had to stop doing it. Somebody eventually did get hurt, unfortunately. And
So
now he's unable
Jeremy
to
also
do
said the
that
nice
stuff,
ninja versus the Jinja Ninja.
though.
Oh my gosh.
Who that was Stu with the red hair?
What's that?
That's Stu with the red hair?
No, that's a guy, Dennis. No, Stu's later in the video. He was Captain America.
Stu's Jack, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could show you a quick part of it if you want to see it.
We don't want to
See if I
see
can
your
bring it back
boyfriend,
out.
Chris.
No, come on.
That was fun. That was fun to
Yeah,
watch.
yeah, we talked about it a little while ago. He sent it to me. So there you have it. The nice ninja back in the
So
80s.
somebody else is up. Liberty.
Dakota.
Liberty.
Oh, I already went.
You
What?
did?
I just said I was a choir girl, and I did all regional, all state, and back in high school, and all county, and I was one of the youngest ones. But I guess I'll add to it that I never really learned the music. I just did it by ear. So.
Wow.
SM Durso says that's Jake Paul. That's his
That's pretty good.
Have you guys been following this stuff with Jake Paul and everything like that?
No.
He's doing pretty good, right?
Well, yeah, he's won the fights that he's taken. He knocked
Mhm.
Tyron Woodley out.
Yeah, I
out
saw
cold.
that the other day. Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
hasn't fought any boxers so far. I mean, Woodley's a
Did he only fight
mixed martial
briefs?
artist. He was a world champion mixed martial artist, but he was on the decline. I mean, his last 3
Mhm.
fights or so. Durso says stunner. He did the
Stunner.
Stone Cold Stunner.
That's
Stone Cold Stunner.
Philly Chris's hair. That was really.
Yeah, I had my curly mullet.
I think Philly Chris wins on the surprises. Oh wait, what about Mike? We never get to
If
ask
you
Mike.
look
so
at,
we're missing
hold on.
Russ.
Let's talk about Jake Paul.
And
Jake Paul.
Mike.
Well, maybe something that people might not know about me is that I've got this terrible addiction to combat sports, where it's really embarrassing that I will order like any fight, anywhere at any time. And oftentimes I have multiple TVs and screens going
There
with
you go.
different fights, and it's like I've yelled at my personal friends for not having an intervention with me. It's, when you've
I'll
got
tell you
a
what,
chick-
I'll come watch it with you. How's that?
yeah, well, I guess enabling.
Right, I'll enable you. I'll bring some cigars.
You know, that's what, yeah. Right. Combat sports, cigars, gun range.
Mhm.
Bring them, just
Shooting
roll
the
them all together.
breeze.
Roll them all together.
Sounds good to me.
I will. If you watch the Jake Paul YouTube videos, trying to find any commentary on it or clips or anything like that, his videos are all botted out. Like anything that's about Jake Paul, they must be paying bots to go comment on these things.
Oh,
because
yeah?
it's this absolute troll nonsense where they'll be like, Jake Paul is the greatest boxer of all time. He's even better than Muhammad Ali.
Really?
They're like, obviously Muhammad Ali had more fights, but if you look at the fighters individually, then Jake Paul's the better fighter. Which it's just meant to, I think, start
Right.
like drive people nuts, because that's like blasphemy in boxing, is to say
Yeah,
that
that's
this
pretty
YouTube
funny,
guy
right?
is better than Muhammad Ali, and anybody who bites is going to be like, "Are you kidding? I can't believe you're saying that." But that's what it's made to generate that sort of
Right.
controversy. And
It
those
sounds
sorts
like
of
it's
comments.
it sounds like it's made to generate engagement. You get people worked up like that, and then they feel the need to comment on it. That
Mhm.
it just boosts the video, whether it's
Well-
good or bad too.
Mike's surprise bored DG. She needs something else. So sorry, Mike.
Oh no! Oh,
She said
no.
that was boring. It's not news. We need something else.
I'm a boring kind of guy.
You want Russ to go, and then you can go because Russ
I already
didn't go?
went. I
That
already
Russ
was
said
very
that he may
hurtful.
have had COVID. I
You
think
can
that's
see.
kind of weak sauce.
Russ.
Why do you think
Yeah.
that's weak? Okay, I live at the
Something
North
that-
Pole. How's that?
That's like something we can expect, like from people at this point. Something else, Russ.
All right, I shower naked. How's that?
That's weird, man. Why do you do that?
Because I'm a weirdo, okay?
Who does that? Congratulations,
Who
you've received
showers?
100 messages today with Restream Chat. Cool.
Thanks,
Russ is addicted to Mountain
Restream.
Dew.
Well, that's
Russ
true.
likes Mountain Dew, and he used to, back in the day when we go to WFYL in person in studio, Russ would would we be having like Doritos and chips behind the scenes?
Oh man, that used to drive me.
He would crunch
bananas.
really loud.
And it's before I actually knew him. You know, I'm this new guy to the station and everything like that. And you know, I just know Russ as like the producer for the station. I didn't know him personally really at all. And you know, doing a program, I got a guest here, and I hear like potato chips bag crinkling in my ears, and I'm like, dude.
Well, Chris is choking on him.
I didn't say anything, you know.
Right.
Maybe that's why I got the short fuse with Russ now. I had to hold it in for a long time.
Yeah, you never
mean when
tell
you do
me
your-
anything to
when
my
you were,
face.
You mean when you did all your Newsmax appearances, you didn't see somebody chomping on
yeah.
Doritos?
Yeah, the CEO, Chris Ruddy, was in the background with potato chips.
Just
Hey,
chomping
everybody, Mike
away.
G's here again.
Okay, now Mike G needs another one because our favorite DG said.
Oh no, man! I'm not good for
TMI.
this. I'll tell you. I'll tell you what, Chris or Liberty, you might know something that they find interesting that other people might not know. You guys might be better suited to perform this task on my behalf.
Oh, he's
No.
Uh-oh, putting us on the spot.
punted.
I don't know. I don't know what's interesting. You know, what would be interesting to these people? It's like anything I
Define
think that they might not
interesting.
know. It's like, yeah, they wouldn't care about that.
How about
you know?
that you speak Russian?
Speak Russian? Da.
Yeah.
Знаешь русский язык, изучил в школе давно.
Everybody-
In
people don't know
Soviet
you're a-
Russia,
you're
Russia
a
speak
double,
you.
Double agent, right?
Нет, нет.
Здравствуйте.
Здравствуйте. Да, this is I say, they start that when people start to talk to me, or they say one word, I try to answer them in Russian like that. That's probably not appropriate because they don't know. They know that one word.
That's right.
Formal
I think
version.
I know when that Mike G worked on a farm in one point in his life.
He did.
Mm.
I did. I worked on a
They might
farm
find that
herding
interesting.
cattle when I was in college. Actually, Uncle Jerry's farm. Uncle Jerry is probably tuning in and sent me a message earlier. We were talking about mustaches. Uncle Jerry had this is absolutely classic mustache when he was growing up, or when I was growing up, when I was real young. And you look at the old photos and see him with the mustache because he's clean shaven now. It's pretty funny to look back on because it looks like of that time period. It's wow, look at that mustache on you, bro. But I did work on Uncle Jerry's farm. We brought cattles to pasture, I guess they would call it. We'd go out to the pasture and we had set up the cattle pen and had to get them on the trailer. And,
Did you
doing
tip any
cow tipping?
cows?
No
Farmer's
tipping
farm-
cows.
farm-
No tipping.
Oh.
Did like just various odd things. We'd bale the hay.
Did you tip any sheep?
We got a picture of us somewhere where it's me and Uncle Jerry. I think we're both shirtless in this barn where we stacked the hay up to the ceiling, and one of
we
us
need
has
to-
got a pitchfork and we got straw in our mouth.
We need to find that.
Yeah, that was fun. So yes, I did work on a
DG
farm.
liked that one better.
that
She's
could
like,
be the
"Oh,
thumbnail
went to
for
my
this
township, you can
episode."
milk some cows.
SM Durso says, Mike, ever see any of those bare knuckle bouts? They can be brutal. Absolutely seen many of those bare knuckle bouts, and they certainly can be. I will tell you this about the bare knuckle stuff. Once that was starting to become more popular, one of the thoughts that crossed my mind was that perhaps this is going to be the future of combat sports, because a lot of what you hear is there's concerns about concussions and long-term effects. And with mixed martial arts, for the beginning, I say the beginning, but earlier on, you heard this narrative being pushed often that it's safer for the purposes of concussions than it is boxing. Because in boxing, if you think about it, somebody gets knocked down, what happens? The other person has to back down.
Yeah, right.
Ref
right,
counts, and they could get back up before they count to 10. And then they ultimately get hit in the head a bunch of other times, right?
Right.
It's also different gloves, so talk about how the energy gets dispersed and everything like that. But in mixed martial arts, you get knocked down, that's usually going to be the end of the fight, because the guy's going to get on top of you, and he's going to beat you until the ref pulls you off, you know?
Right.
So
He's gonna
you got-
Ralphie you.
You get fewer of those cases where somebody's knocked down and getting back up, and it does happen. But
You're hitting your mic again, just so you know.
I know I'm trying to put it in. Sorry.
And there he goes.
So
Sorry, I keep sneezing.
So when the bare knuckle bout started, ultimately, what I thought was perhaps this is going to be the new future because when you start to see the concussions and all of these issues in mixed martial arts with the gloves, one of the things to think about is, well, the 4-ounce gloves, they're meant to protect the knuckle, right? So these guys are swinging much harder than they would they not have gloves, because if you swing as hard as you can with no gloves, what happens?
Boxer's fracture.
Oh, you break your hands, right? So
Yeah.
I figured, well, they're not going to swing as hard if they've got no gloves on, and therefore you won't be taking the same kinds of blows as you would with gloves. But if you watch these fights, what ends up happening is they still throw their butt off, right? They still swing out of their shoes, and they
crazy,
do break their hands, but they just break their hands. If you watch the fight, Artem Lobov versus, and these fighters look absolutely brutal when they're done sometimes. Like, their faces look like Martians. But if you watch Artem Lobov, who is a mediocre at best mixed martial artist, had a string of losses in a row. He went and fought Paulie Malignaggi in bare knuckle boxing, and Malignaggi is a world champion, and Artem beat him. Malignaggi, I believe, broke his hand in the first round.
Damn.
And these guys, they both went to the hospital immediately thereafter. So yes, Sean, I have seen bare knuckle.
No, he hasn't. He just put on.
I
did
made
want to
all
say
that up,
too.
right?
I don't know.
You've been in a couple too, haven't you?
Sounds like it. I don't mind if you. I don't know if any of the listeners, since we love our listeners so much, if they want to share anything that we wouldn't know about them.
Oh yeah.
If you want to share something.
Yeah. Good idea, Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
Share away, ladies and gentlemen.
Share away.
Somebody said you looked. You're very tall and you look like Abraham Lincoln.
Who said that?
Oh no, he's gonna
Somebody
find
said that you're unusually tall and you look like Abraham Lincoln. I'd have to scroll back up. Abnormally tall and looks
Gary.
I didn't know Lincoln was Italian.
Of course, it's a classic Italian name.
How you doing?
Yep,
How
it
you
was
doing?
Gary.
Forget about
Gary.
it.
Right.
I got your Gettysburg Address right here.
The nice ninja could beat Muhammad Ali. So
I can't tell. DG, did GG share something, or she was sharing a story? If any of our listeners want to share now something that we wouldn't know about you, share it now, and we'll read it out loud. You have to be okay with us reading it out loud.
Don't do that, Chris.
why not?
Don't do that.
Oh,
It's copyrighted.
Come
you can't
on,
do
man.
that. You're not allowed.
Okay,
That was
DG
somebody
said,
else's
I'm an
idea.
Extrovert. There
have
is
to
my
change
news.
it.
I am sharing.
You want to call my newsboard?
Yeah, DG.
One of the most active participants in this program is an extrovert. Get out of town.
You don't say.
Oh, you should grow the beard. Yeah, you should grow the beard out.
Well, here's something funny, Chris, is that Gary mentioned that I'm abnormally tall. Do you think most of the people know how tall I am, or?
Ooh, let's take a
I
poll.
don't think
just
most people
listening.
realize you're 7'2". No.
How tall do you think Mike G is, everybody? Mike, take a poll.
Yeah. How tall does everybody think Mike is? Yeah.
How tall?
How tall? Well, I remember when he met you the first time, because he did. He looked at you. He's like, "Oh, I didn't realize you were tall."
Yeah.
I don't think you look, but I don't know. I mean, I guess because I know you.
Some
And I
people
met
have
you.
seen
You look
me
so
at
short
seminars.
when you sit in your chair.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the seminar goers.
That's happened to trying to remember. Somebody else that's happened to.
DG said 6'3". Any more guesses?
6'3". 6'3". Close. That's
I
a
was gonna
close
do a
one.
poll.
Keep
but I
sharing
guess we
about
do it this way.
themselves. We want to hear about everybody.
I'm gonna say 6'0".
Gary's is 8'9".
That's a
He's
little
like,
on the
I don't
short
know,
side.
he's just way up there, right? I've had people say that though. Like, I've walked into television studios. I didn't realize you were that tall. Or
Right.
even when U.S. Law Shield came to film the national commercial over at Rich Roberts' office, we did a national commercial where Scott, who's participating in the comments this evening,
Super fan.
after he attended 100 seminars,
Right.
to come and film a national commercial with you and Scott. And I said, hey, we've got a seminar in Allentown tonight. So why don't we do it this way? We'll do it at Rich's office, and Rich can be a part of the commercial too. It'd be great.
Yeah.
And when the crew walked in, they're like, dude, we've been editing your videos for years. We had no idea you're that tall. I didn't expect it to be that tall.
Uh-huh.
Rita says 6'3". DG says 6'3". It's all relative to your own height. Yeah, I guess so. I'll tell you, I was playing. So when I was in high school, in the off season, some of us we would always get together and find a place to practice during the day.
Right.
And a group of us would get together, and one of these fields was in the projects, Mariners Harbor, and it was a public field, so we'd go there pretty often, and a bunch of us are over there. And these younger kids are standing on the side. Just, I presume they lived in the area, and they're watching us play and everything like that. I'm standing in the outfield, and they're looking at me like, how tall is that guy? How tall is he? He's tall. And then somebody's like, ask him. He's like, no, you ask him. You ask him. You know how kids are, right? I don't want to ask him. You ask him. And one of the kids asked me, and he goes, hey, excuse me, sir. How tall are you? And so I looked at them and I said, 7 foot. And then they all go, whoa. And this one little kid goes, he's not 7 foot. And so he walks out onto the field, into the outfield, and comes like right over to my hip. And he looks all the way up at me and he goes, damn, he is 7 foot.
That's awesome.
That's so cute.
Gary says, I'll share when I was a kid, my parents accidentally left me at a hotel and didn't realize I wasn't in the car until a few miles away.
I don't think that was an accident.
The hotel called and was like, you left your kid here. And they're like, oh, no, we did? Whoops.
That's
yeah.
a-
Really?
That's a true Home Alone story.
What are you
that's
calling us for?
But he was like 35 at the time, right?
He's 35.
And I just want to say, Rita said she likes to fly with her friends. I think she means like fly in planes.
Oh, that's cool. That's an
cool.
interesting thing. That,
Oh, I think
that's
she
way
did tell
better
us
than
about
anything
that,
I
yeah.
could have come up with. Rita, that's way better.
Nice,
Gary's
Rita.
is way better. Oh, Jeremy's is awesome. My phone
Whoa,
just died while I was
Jeremy.
typing. I used to be a huge liberal.
No.
That-
Oh, really? Okay.
That's
How about that?
amazing.
That's
It used to
interesting.
be a huge. That's very surprising. Very surprising.
Is
Well,
he just
people
a tiny
generally
one
don't go
now?
the other way as much, You hear that story every now and then, yeah.
Dursa says, I was an altar boy. I used to know the entire Roman Catholic Mass in Latin. That's you see, people got some really good, interesting
That's
things.
pretty good, yeah. I was an altar boy, but I don't remember much.
Really.
Yeah.
No, it's
Too much of that wine.
We're not making jokes about this on this show.
no,
Stop.
no.
Hey,
But I
Chris,
I
was it too much of that wine?
It might have been. Could have been. Probably.
Somebody
I
was
put that
saying-
link in the doc in case you wanted it, Mike, at any point too.
Nobody uses the dock. What are you doing putting things in the dock, Chris?
Mike
Rita
texted
says,
me
Mike,
and
how
said,
tall are you? 6'4". 6'4".
6 foot. Ladies and
The
gentlemen,
correct
6
answer.
foot.
So if you
Not
took the
6'4".
for the people who said 6'3", if you took the over, you have won the bet.
Won the bet, yeah. $1.
Mike, you're not
So Jar-
6'4".
Yeah, I'm not. I'm 5'8", as a matter of fact.
I've met you in person. You're not as tall as me.
That's right. I'm taller than you. If you watch any of the videos that we have,
Right.
Shut up, Mike.
there's video evidence. Jeremy, up until they backed Hillary and went crazy. So that was the turning point for him.
Hmm.
Oh wow.
Huh.
Yeah, that was
Interesting.
a pretty wild time. That was a wild time.
That was.
Speaking of the Clintons,
Play the. Okay, maybe this is interesting for. I guess people have heard the song, right? Hungry, so they already know that I sing and play guitar. Maybe they
Yeah.
don't know that I played the bass drum in the symphonic band. Maybe that's something they don't know, and maybe interesting. I don't know.
Hey, you copied mine.
You're really good with the piccolo too, right?
And
and,
Like-
and the
I'll be
didgeridoo.
like Ron Burgundy, like I'm really not prepared, guys. I'm not prepared. You take it out, put it together. Jazz flute.
Right.
Piccolo.
I also heard
We
you were
should do that
talented.
that Johnny Cash video we were talking about.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Nah,
Yeah.
Johnny Cash will rise up from the grave and sue us.
I think he'd be happy.
Well, he didn't even write the song though.
Hmm.
That's a Trent Reznor.
Doesn't
song.
matter.
probably right.
Nobody's allowed to have any of my ideas.
Yeah.
I'm
Gary
a
says, "My dad
music
says I was
artist and
switched at
nobody's
birth and
allowed
then
to
Phil
do it."
Sons, rocket scientist for NASA. Rita says, I once wrote to the Blue Angels and asked for an aerobatic ride.
Oh, cool.
That is awesome.
Did you get it? I guess not.
I was a huge Shaquille O'Neal fan. I had like figurines, like
That's pretty cool.
Orlando
That is
Magic.
interesting.
Loved it.
That is interesting. Gary says Mike needs to play the guitar for us. Maybe we'll do an episode like that. If people show interest and they want
Yeah.
like if the people show interest and they want to hear, a 5-song sort of thing, we can do something like that.
Well, even if people hate it, they'll stay tuned
They'll
in,
listen.
so.
They'll listen the whole time. And
Mike
send
G in
us
the
mail
morning
and
concert on the weekend. I can already see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do something like
They'll
that. If
listen.
people show
They'll
interest.
They'll tune in just to tell you they hate it,
Yeah.
Right.
and then they'll stick
Everybody,
around some more.
everybody can use a little music in this day and age right now.
Absolutely.
Music makes the world go round.
All right, so why don't we get Slick Willie on the phone? Can we
Okay.
get a call to Slick Willie?
Look, Willie.
What do you think? Hold
Yeah,
on,
we
hold on.
should probably get him on
We
there.
should
yeah.
get him on the telephone though. Get him on the telephone. Let's not Skype him in.
What?
Russ, you have his number, right? His number's in the doc.
Yeah, it's
You have access to his telephone number. Dial his number.
Call him
okay.
live.
Let's see.
Let's do it live.
Put yourself on-
6969
hold on,
69.
Don't do the number on the air though. It's like a confidential number.
Put yourself, Russ. Put yourself on mute. Put yourself on mute
Okay.
while you're dialing him in.
6969.
Put yourself on mute while you're dialing him in, but get him on the phone. I want to hear him on the phone.
Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, stand by while Russ, the producer.
Hello. Who's this?
Slick Willie, we got you.
Who's asking?
This is Mike G from Mike G in the Morning. Thanks for joining us on the program, Slick Willie.
Oh, I love your show.
Do you?
No.
How long have you been listening?
I'm the guy who voted in the poll.
What'd you vote for?
I sent you that hate mail.
That was you
Oh.
sending the hate mail, Slick Willie? I thought that
Yeah.
you'd have more important things to do as a former president.
I'm sick of hearing about COVID.
Are you? I thought you were just sick in general, but you're sick about hearing about COVID?
Well, I am. I have a myriad of diseases.
It's from all
So
those
what-
cheeseburgers, maybe.
What's been ailing you lately?
Trump derangement syndrome.
Anything else? Anything you caught from maybe an unclean woman?
Well, there was this lady called Hillary that I was once involved with. She gave me all kind of mental illness.
Aren't you still involved with her, or did you forget?
No,
Oh, okay.
thankfully.
Just a straight up no.
So how long has it been since you've been involved with Hillary?
Who's Hillary?
You tried to erase that from your memory. Was it traumatizing to have to spend all of that time with Hillary over the years?
I didn't have to spend any time with her. I was with the interns, training them.
So, Mr. President, is there anything you can tell us about aliens?
No, don't call me Mr. President. Mr. President is my father.
Okay. What do you prefer that we call you?
Slick Willie.
Okay, Slick Willie.
Or
Slick
Wet Willie.
Or Wet Willie. Either one. And
Free
really
Willie.
anything with the Willie, right?
Free Willie.
Free Willie.
Really?
So, Mr. Willie, what can you tell? Is there anything you could tell us about aliens we don't know about?
The truth is out there.
Oh, really?
Okay. Oh, interesting. Hmm.
Have you had any kind of abduction scenarios?
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, tell us
She
about
married me.
Mr. Willie, can you just clear this up once and for all? Did you did you have an inappropriate relationship with Monica Lewinsky?
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Oh, okay, well,
I wanted to, though.
Well,
I wanted to, but she wouldn't let me. Believe me, if it happened, I'd be admitting it. I'd be shouting it from the rooftops. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
oh, was it just her, or were there other people involved?
Not at the same time.
So Mr. Willie, what do you think about our current president?
He's a jackass.
Really?
Yes. He represents the donkey very well.
So what do you think that he can do better?
I mean, he could be a better president. It'd be hard to do worse than what he's doing right now.
That's true.
Do you have any
That's
tips
true.
for him? Because people often regard you as a pretty good president. And you hear people who, you more often than not, regardless of what happened to you and the whole lying under oath thing and everything, just that minor detail. People often speak very highly of you. Do you have any tips for Uncle Brandon?
The kind of tips I offer, I'm not sure if he would be okay with it.
Like not to pet a burning dog? Is that what you're
It's
talking
not
about?
the kind. It's not the kind of tip that goes in a tip jar, if you know what I mean.
What do you think about climate change, Mr. Willie? We got the polar ice caps melting and everything like that. We're going to be in some serious trouble, aren't we?
I think it's a good thing.
Why is that?
It's too cold.
Oh,
I could use some warm. I could use some warm. In fact, you know what? I have this brilliant plan. We'll grow oranges in Alaska. We'll end world hunger with oranges in Alaska. Mark my words.
Are you right now doing that whole thing that you constantly do where you put your thumb to the rest of your fist and sort of shaking it up and down? You know what I mean?
I call that the non-accusatory knuckle point.
You're the king of that, aren't you, Mr. Willie?
Yes, I invented it.
Sorry, knuckle boy.
We have to get you on video sometime, I think, so we can see that.
Well, so what are your plans for? What are your
I only
plans for
video
this
chat
Christmas?
with interns.
What are your plans for this Christmas, Mr. Willie?
I plan to not die.
That's a good plan.
Is that going to take up most of your energy?
Well, the doctor says I'm healthy as a horse. If the horse was on its last leg,
Guys.
would you go to a race and bet on a three-legged horse named Tripod?
Probably.
I would not advise that.
Have you been vaccinated?
From what in particular?
You haven't been following the news, apparently.
Well, when you're talking to Mr. Willie over here, he has to protect himself from a variety of diseases on a regular basis. I think at this point, he's when COVID hit, people were buying toilet paper and buying.
My blood is 90% vaccine.
Well, when people were buying toilet paper and hand sanitizer, Willie over here was buying penicillin, making sure he had plenty of that in the fridge.
It's okay. You're already okay. You're naturally immune, you're telling us.
You've had every type of disease imaginable.
I've had all of them. The way I studied for the drug test in high school was by taking all the drugs. I don't know if I won.
I thought you didn't inhale, though.
I did all of them.
Oh, okay. The truth is coming out. Probably because you're on your last leg.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is sort of like a deathbed confession
Yeah,
for us on this program. This is exclusive stuff, isn't it, Willie?
exclusive interview here today. Only on Mike G in the morning.
I've not known you to be a man of few words, Willie.
Well, when you're my age with my many diseases, you run out of words very quickly.
Do you think that you might run for some other kind of office, maybe?
I might run to the Oval Office.
Your old stomping grounds, huh?
You miss it?
Oh no, that's where the John is.
Oh, there you go.
I'm talking about that Oval Office. The one with the porcelain chair. I plan to die there like Elvis.
Billy Chris, I was supposed to get this serious, but
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time over here. Philly Chris, you can
Yeah.
ask him. Feel free to ask him questions.
Well, where are you right now? What are you doing right now tonight? Where are you spending
I'm
Christmas?
not authorized to answer that unless you dial that 800 number.
Okay, we'll have to call that.
So you were disbarred as an attorney. Did that impact your plans? Did you plan on practicing law?
No.
No. If you were going to be a personal injury attorney, what would your commercial sound like?
If you've been personally injured, call me. I'll be your lawyer. Call 1-800 Bill the lawyer.
Very slick and to the point.
Mm.
Good stuff.
This is it.
SlickWillieLaw.com.
Slick Willie.
Please, nobody go there.
No flea. Yeah.
I don't think that's the kind of website you want to go to.
Quite the ending to the Christmas show.
You want to wish
Now
everybody a Merry
I know
Christmas?
you didn't just say the C word. I think what you meant was holiday.
Well, yeah, we can't be presumptuous these
No.
days.
You
can we?
you
wanna do
can't
that.
presume that people are celebrating Christmas when they're obviously celebrating that holiday that revolves around a tree and presents
No, it's just
and Santa
just a tree,
Claus.
Yeah.
Earth Day.
Mm.
though. Oh, is there something else that Christmas is about, Slick Willie, or might you burst into flames if you say the name?
I think he burst into flames. What are you saying, DG? I
You guys
anybody
done
had
ki-
enough,
You
maybe.
guys killed Slick Willie.
And
Yeah, I
it
think
killed
he
Slick
burst
Willie.
into
It's done.
flames.
Come on, man.
The tree was a little. The tree was. Come on, man.
I have no questions for him.
Well, we appreciate his time.
Yeah. Thanks for
I
making
appreciate
time
my
to go for
time too.
Yeah.
Monica appreciates it.
that.
I only burst into flames temporarily. It's a
Isn't it
condition.
true you're inviting
it's a
people
condition
to
I
McDonald's
have.
for?
It's one of those many
Christmas dinner?
diseases I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Burst into flameitis. Inflammation of
Oh.
the self.
Everybody, don't forget to
Hide your kids,
enjoy
hide your wife.
Hide your kids, hide your wife. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Anybody else have anything for the good of the order? Want to cut it short this evening?
Yes, lock up your daughter, lock up your wife, lock up your back door, run for your life. Slick
There you go.
Willie's back in
It's
town.
like not a creature was staring, not even a mouse.
Yeah.
Not a creature was stirring.
Which was
not
2
even a
nights
bill.
before Christmas.
Oh yeah, we should have asked Slick Willie to read the night before Christmas.
Oh, no.
Oh, can we get it back? Can we get back on? Let's end the show like that. Slick Willie reading Night Before
Oh,
Christmas.
There we go.
God.
That would be great.
Yeah.
And then we can
no.
isolate that and post it as a clip.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
Yes.
You can bring it up, right?
Yeah. Let me see
While
if
you're
I can,
looking for it,
let me
play
see if
the,
I can get him back on the phone.
play the clip in the doc, maybe, if you wanted to play that, Mike. I put in the doc, the Italian one, and then Russ can find the other thing.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that'll be pretty quick to find
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Maybe Christopher Walken should read Night Before
Oh
Christmas.
yeah, that would be good. Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, you got to bring him back, brother.
So who's reading it?
Walken.
I think
Weirdo-
we'll let Slick
Weirdo
Willie.
Willie or okay.
Can you do any impressions, Philly Chris?
I don't know if they're really impressions, just some
What
of
do
the silly voices like
Oh,
we
yeah.
do,
Like
But
Sammy.
I don't know. Right.
Twas
But
the
you
night
can't think of
before
like a
socialism.
famous person you can do it like
I'm not really good at that. I don't think.
Obama maybe. I don't know.
Right. No.
Twas the night before
Merry
Christmas.
PG.
And all through the house.
Hello.
Not a creature was stirring. No.
Merry
no,
Christmas,
not one.
everybody. Hello.
Not even a
Happy-
mouse.
But it's really happy holidays.
Not even a mouse.
Very-
But the
because
mouse
I've
was
heard
covered by our
most
Obamacare.
Not a creature was stirring.
Not a creature was stirring.
Not even a mouse.
Okay. Not even mouse. Which is one of the smallest creatures. Okay.
Mice are bad. Okay.
Mice are bad.
Mice are bad.
They'll chew through your wires. Okay.
Mice are
Not
bad.
a creature
Wait.
was stirring. Not even an earthling.
That's a pretty good one. What was it? So I think Slick Willie's gonna read The Night Before Christmas.
All right. Slick Willie,
Maybe
there you
next
go.
week he'll do that.
No, today,
We were
now.
waiting for you, brother.
right now.
Today, Junior.
Liberty, do you do any impressions?
No, really just with singing probably back in the day, but not now.
Are you guys looking for Slick Willie to make up his own or to just read it?
Maybe Nancy Pelosi should live.
That'd be good.
Hi. It's the night before Christmas. I was through the house.
I had
Not a
lots of
creature
ice
was
cream.
stirring. Not even a mouse. not even an intern mouse.
I think I can do
Stockings were
accents
hung
pretty well,
by
but
the chimney with care. Nope, that's St. Nicholas. Soon would be there.
That is spot on.
The children are nestled. I gotta get in the Uncle Brandon.
Merry
Yeah.
Christmas, DG and Gary,
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Rita.
DG says,
Wait
"Let's hear
for
Liberty
Liberty
sing."
to sing. How you
Mm.
feeling, Liberty, right now? You doing all right?
Yeah. Not really. My voice is kind of.
Eventually, we'll have you
One
sing on
day.
the show.
Got a frog in your
I'm really
throat?
happy in my voice.
Slick Willie, Night Before Christmas.
Yeah, who's doing the night before Christmas?
It's
You
very
are.
easy to pull up.
Guys, I have it here. It's I'll put
Okay.
it in
Go
the
ahead.
doc.
Go ahead, Slick Willie.
I'll put it in the doc, cause that's a
ahead.
thing we do.
Go ahead.
Oh, I thought we were taking turns doing
No,
Slick
begin.
Willie and Nancy
Come on.
You
Pelosi.
can go ahead. Start
Hit
to
it,
finish.
Russ.
Oh God.
Hit it, Russ.
Hit it, Slick Willie.
Hit it, Slick Willie. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time and not the last time on Mike G in the Morning, Slick Willie, The Night Before Christmas.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even an intern mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap. Oh God, I hope not. Hillary, get out of my bed. I'm trying to sleep. You're so cold. Went out on the lawn, there arose such a clatter, so I got my shotgun to see what was the matter. I sprang from the bed. Shut up, you guys. I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore up the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast from the new fallen snow gave a luster to midday to objects below. All right. When what to my wondering eyes should appear a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. Sounds like dinner. With a little old driver so lively and quick. He ain't seen me, though. I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles. His courses they came. And he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Trying to think of a funny way to do this.
Is Slick Willie all tapped out?
No, I'm trying to think of the names
Now
from Mambo
Monica.
number 5.
Now Paula Jones. Now Jennifer Flowers. Juanita Broderick.
You have to cut this as a promo.
But not including Matt Lauer. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, to the windows, to the wall is what I'm reading there. From the windows to the wall. Now dash way, all. Get out of here. I'm finished.
Woo!
Woo!
As dry.
Oh yeah, can Slick Willie tell us something about himself that we don't
Actually
know
had me
about?
laughing.
Yeah, that's pretty good, Russ. Good job, Russell.
Thanks.
I mean,
Nice.
Slick Willie. Can we cut that as a promo and play it on Christmas Day?
Good grief. No.
Oh my goodness.
Good thing to do. Mm.
Right. Merry
I
Christmas.
would say
to all.
interviewing Slick Willie is something that Liberty would tell Philly Chris and Mike G to not do, and then they do it, and then people like
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Willie
tell us
tell us
not to do
something
something.
about
We will
himself
certainly
we
do
don't
it, and we
know.
will
Say, what are you
overdo
guys
it.
doing on Christmas?
Mm.
We will
Having
overdo
fun.
it.
But the ending was pretty funny, I must say.
Make America laugh again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish everybody Merry Christmas.
Make America my intern.
Oh my goodness.
Don't
Merry
forget.
Mm.
Don't forget the reason for the season.
Mhm.
You know, growing up, did everybody here, Russ? I don't know. I know you grew up in a Christian household, Russ.
Sorta.
Was there Santa Claus or was there no Santa Claus?
There was Santa Claus.
There was Santa Claus. Chris,
Yeah.
there was Santa Claus when you were growing up.
Oh yes, most definitely. Yeah.
Liberty, was there Santa Claus?
Yes.
I know some Christian families very anti Santa Claus.
Mm.
Yeah.
My parents were not necessarily, I don't think, anti Santa Claus. They wanted to make it very clear that, you know, Jesus' birthday is what we're celebrating. My
Mhm.
grandma would always have a birthday cake for Jesus on Christmas.
That's
Oh yeah,
weird.
that's cool.
Yeah. But I think I knew at a very young age, like earlier than I can remember. I don't remember actually believing in Santa Claus.
No,
Yeah, I remember thinking it was ridiculous.
you mean you're saying Santa's not real?
Well, we all know that the real Santa
What are you
Claus.
talking about, man?
Guys, come on. We know that the real Santa Claus is Slick Willie. Come here, little kitties on my lap. Guess who's back with a brand new rap?
Obama's Santa Claus.
Right.
I'll give
I
you
learned
everything for
from,
free.
Hollywood Squares. Remember that show, Hollywood Squares?
Hollywood Squares.
Nobody is
remember
allowed
seeing
to be Santa Claus because I'm Santa Claus. I'll give you everything for free, including free college.
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah. No, I am Santa Claus.
Hmm.
I'm Socialist Claus.
Socialist Claus. There you go.
Well, now they have the elf thing, and the parents are going nuts.
I remember. I can't.
Elf?
I
So
can't
you
recall.
don't really recall, like, as a child? thinking
No, I
Santa
remember
was
my
really
younger
real.
brother. I remember my younger brother really believing in it and like not wanting to ruin it for him. Like he was so excited that like Santa drank the milk or whatever, and it's like, all right, man.
Hmm.
Yeah, he drank the milk. You know? And he's only 2 years younger than me, you know.
Ah,
Yeah,
right.
Than I.
Well,
Right.
So- only 2 years younger. But I remember him being really excited one year. We must have been maybe like 4 and 6. But like,
Sure.
so he was really here. He was here. Yeah, Rich brought something up to me that I think is interesting. Like when you buy your kids nice gifts,
Mm-hmm.
you should not tell them that it's from Santa Claus. You should tell them the nice gifts are from mom and dad.
Sure.
And the reason is that, let's say Santa Claus buys the kid a computer, right?
Right.
Goes to school and says, well, Santa brought me a computer.
Yeah.
And this other kid whose family is not well off is like, man,
Oh.
Santa bought me a Matchbox car. What?
Oh,
To heck with that guy,
Why makes sense.
why did he treat you so good? And I got gypped this year. I remember one year they have the letters that go to Santa that you can get from the post office. I don't know if you know this. At least
Yeah, you write to the North Pole, right?
well, people who write them, yeah, and then you can pick them up. So my dad ended up every year he tried to do something nice for people. I remember one year he told everybody, I don't want any presents, just cash, please. And nobody knew why. And he took an envelope of cash. He went to there was a barber shop in this rough part of town.
Yeah.
And it's a bunch of guys, they had this Bible study over at the barber shop.
Mm-hmm.
And, seemed like nice, hardworking guys. And my dad went over there and just gave them an envelope filled with the cash that everybody gave them and said, use this to help your Bible study and everything.
That's cool. So you're saying you can pick them up at the post office to kind of be Santa for that person's letter?
Well, so that was a different occasion. And then on one
Okay.
occasion, he went to the thing and he's reading through them. It could be Santa for that person. And
That's
some of
cool.
them were like the people wanted these really outrageous things and everything. And, not people in tough positions, really, And
Right.
then he read this one from this girl who lived in the projects and her grandma was her caretaker. And she said, all I want for Christmas is a nice dinner prepared for the family so my grandma can have the day off and she doesn't have to cook.
Oh,
This
okay.
young little girl asking for that.
That's
My
cool.
dad's like, and at the end it was like, P.S. If it's not too trouble, then I've been really wanting a CD player or something like that. But she kind of like threw
Right.
that in the end, like, and then like that's not the most important thing. So my dad was like, all right, let's take care of this girl. So
That's
he found a way to get in touch with the grandmother and said, listen, your granddaughter wrote this in, thought it was so sweet. We're going to take care of everything. Don't worry about cooking. And we showed up, went to this house
Nice.
in the projects, which my dad was raised in the projects.
Yeah.
We lived in apartments when I was growing up and stuff. And we showed up and my dad had bought some catered food for them and everything that we brought in and brought them
Cool.
and he ended up getting the girl the CD player, a nice CD player too. And so she was,
that's nice.
the girl was absolutely thrilled.
Oh,
Nice
that-
things like that.
That's cool. I didn't know you could pick those up. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very nice.
All right. And on that thing, that I guess very nice.
Yeah.
Nice
yeah.
sort of Christmas memory. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God that Christmas is Jesus' birthday, and we sure all need him, right?
Yeah.
Sure all need him. I really hope that people start to recognize that moving forward, because I don't know how much time we got left, right?
How about it?
Yeah.
Getting a little
Well,
crazy.
in
out
in
here.
in the
Yeah.
words of Squidward, which I think is he's very on point with this. I can't believe people would celebrate a holiday where a jolly prowler breaks into your house and leaves gifts.
Well, when you have people like
I'd
Gary out
rather
there giving
celebrate
them,
Jesus.
Tito's and red wine, that he's going to do that.
Yeah, Jesus, man.
I'll take Jesus over a jolly prowler any day.
Mm.
What?
Yeah, Merry Christmas,
Who are
everybody.
you calling a jolly prowler?
Peace and love.
I'm
Gigi
not
said,
jolly.
Merry Christmas. All of you made a very fun year. That's nice. So did you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, DG.
Our audience.
You guys are the best.
That possible. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, everybody, for being here. And let's call it a wrap. Enjoy Christmas with your family, your loved ones. God bless everybody.
God bless.
Thanks for tuning in Stick around for We the People, the Constitution Matters. Pastor David Whitney, Professor Phil Duffy. I'll be joining as your legal analyst. We miss you as always, Ellie. Daddy loves you.